good afternoon and welcome. Well, it's a beautiful day here in Tobago, in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. This is your program, Transforming Lives One at a Time. Our hope is that your lives are being impacted by the information being shared on this program. Our topic today is effective parenting skills. My guest is Ms Yolanda Marcelle, and she has a certificate in child care and parenting with an emphasis on positive reinforcement. She is the president of the Parent Teachers Association in the largest school on the island and the PRO in the Tobago Region PTA. She's committed to working with parents to prepare a generation for the future. Ms. Marcelle, I want to change your name. Welcome again to the program.
It's so nice to be here every time.
Yes, of course, I did indicate to you that I will be calling you from time to time. So happy to have you again with us.
Yes, it's
my
nice
dear.
to be here.
Well, today we are discussing effective parenting skills. So as we get into it, we know that effective parenting encompasses a range of skills that focus on nurturing a child's well-being and development. Mm-hmm. So when we consider building a strong relationship with our children, what exactly are we talking about, and how critical is active listening and spending that quality time?
Well, I think that's the answer right there. And before I go any further, disclaimer, I definitely want parents to understand that I speak from my heart, I speak from my experience and the experience of those around me.
Yes.
I do not speak from a textbook.
Okay.
So if it is that I'm not using all those big words and all those scientific words, they will excuse me, but I want to speak to those who are really in the trenches and having the battle every day to try to bring up their children the way that they should, and they're interested in what else can I do to make this work. So those are the persons who I would be talking to, how it worked for me and some other persons that I've seen, right? And active listening, I love that, active listening, not listening just for them to hurry up and finish, say what they had to say, so you could tell them what you want to tell them, and they have to go with that. Active listening is really listening with interest, listening to understand what they're saying, listening to hear how they're really feeling, because a lot of times we miss how they're really feeling, and sometimes their words don't properly relay their feeling, and so I want to encourage parents. Active listening is the best way to develop a relationship with your child, and the way they know that you're listening is when you repeat back things to them and you say, I don't quite understand that. They expect that you don't.
Right.
And so if it is that you start running off at the mouth because you think they're saying what you think they're saying, then they get depressed, they withdraw, and they say, Mommy don't understand, and they will never come back to you. Mommy don't understand. Daddy don't want to hear what I have to say because I'm talking to them. And you would be saying, but that is what you said. That is not what they meant though.
Okay.
But in the limited vocabulary, they're trying to relate to you. So if when they're talking, it doesn't make sense to you, don't try to let it make sense. Ask them, what you mean by this? What you mean by that? It's okay if they laugh at you too.
Yes.
It means that if they're laughing at you because you don't understand, it means that you've won them over. So now they feel they could teach mommy and daddy a thing or two, But anytime you say it in a particular attitude and they say, don't bother, you've lost them.
Yeah.
You've lost them. And so you now would need to come back and reinitiate that conversation, at an appropriate time, and let them know, listen, I really want to understand, it seemed that I didn't understand the last time. Please, parents, be willing to admit you didn't understand. Don't be a know-it-all, because we don't know. Even though the words they're using sound like words you knew from your generation, it don't mean the same.
Okay.
You know, so if we really want to develop a relationship, solid relationship, we have to let them know that their opinion matters,
Yes.
their feelings matters, and there are times, parents, let them choose and go along. Even if, as long as it's not going to endanger them,
Yes.
let them see the error of that decision and be there to say, well, since you tried that, how about if we try it this way? You might still get the result. Don't say, you see?
That's why I told you that.
I tell you that we don't do that, but you want to do your own thing. No, they're trying to explore
Yes.
and find out themselves.
Yes. Well, when we talk about promoting positive behaviors, what does that mean, and how does boundaries, discipline, and resiliency come into play?
I love it. Boundaries, parents, there is nothing wrong with boundaries. It is absolutely important that we set boundaries and commend positive behavior. Like if it's their birthday.
Yes.
You know, commend, they had a situation at school or at home in the house, hall or whatever, and they made the right choice. Listen to me. Behave as though it's a marching band. Behave as though, you know, it's 4th of July.
Yes.
Carry on as though, and they will be like, oh God, mommy embarrassing me, but that is okay. They're in their heart celebrating, and now they are going to continue to do things to get that.
Right.
So when they do something right, say, oh my gosh, you are so awesome. You did that. You thought about that by yourself.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, and any opportunity you get to talk about it to someone in their presence, boast about them and the decision they made and how nice that was, and you feel so proud, and encourage that. Don't be always harping on what they did wrong.
Yes.
If you celebrate what they do correctly, then you are going to find out they're going to do more things correctly to get that celebration.
Right.
You know, and they walk about with their chest in the air like, my mom is safe.
Of course.
My dad is safe. You know, and they are proud to have gotten that response from you.
Yes.
So you spend more time celebrating good, but not just celebrating that positive, but to show them how going forward in their life, decisions like this is going to be very productive and beneficial to them. So if they talk about, if they, let's say they found something and they brought it home, and they say, Mom, you know, I found this, and it didn't belong to me, but I didn't know who to give it to and whatever.
Right.
You celebrate their honesty.
Yes.
You celebrate their transparency. They didn't have to come to you.
Right.
But you want them in future to come to you all the time. So you celebrate the fact that they came to you. And you let them know, you know, when you get to be a grown man or a woman and you go to your job, you know, people can trust you.
Yes.
And because they will know that you have a reputation for not touching what doesn't concern you. And look at how you special, and, you know, and you celebrate. But use it also as a teaching moment.
Right.
You know, use it to show them why it is important that they do what is right and honest.
Yes.
And they will continue to look for opportunities to do what is right. Always use it to show them, if you continue this way, everyone is going to see you as this, and you are going to be that, and you know, and so on. So you always, and you know, everything for me comes out of the scriptures. So anytime you do something that I celebrate, I go to the scriptures, I find a story, and we read the story, and we talk about that story and show you how this is how it's always supposed to be, you know.
Yes.
So, you know, look at that. You have someone in the Bible who you just emulate and so on. So it's a marvelous thing. And when we're talking about setting boundaries, you want to this helps with establishing roles in the home. Let the child know they are a child. So there's a time to speak and there's a time to be quiet.
So what I'm hearing is that what this actually does for a child is like a game changer.
Yeah.
Because, you know, many times as parents, as it relates to disciplining their child, they will be scolded, maybe given a time out, and whatever measures that a parent sees fit. But it is so important as well to praise those good behaviors.
Yes.
So you now have like a champion.
Yes, that's how they feel. That's how they feel. And that's what we want to motivate. That's what we want them to work towards. You know, if you're always talking about the negative, then that's what you get. Because they don't know what to do. They have an idea what not to do because you're shouting it from the rooftop. You know, how about shouting from the rooftop what they should do, what they have been doing, what is beneficial to them to do, you know. And that might mean as a parent, you might have to do some adjustment because, you know, long time the older parents, they would shout and scream, holler, cuss at you, things like that. But we want to develop children who can converse intelligently. And so as a parent, you might need to learn how to converse intelligently.
Right. So
you know.
Is it that as parents, from time to time, because this is a conversation you hardly ever hear, so you're saying as parents, we need to have that introspection ever so often.
Ever so
because remember, we are dealing with our children, we are dealing with our charges, and we always have to ensure that we have got it under control.
Yes, yes, we do. And one of the things that parents don't think about doing is being vulnerable to the child, being wrong. You see, if it is that the child can be wrong, where you have to discipline them, you discipline with the intention to teach a lesson, not just to punish.
Right.
Right? You don't want to be an ogre, as they would say, but you want to be a teacher. You want to be an emulator. You want them to want to emulate you. So when they do something wrong, you explain to them why it's wrong. And just like with the good behavior, you show them where this behavior could lead, why it is you would prefer that they not do it. And so you as a parent, if you misjudge or if your behavior was not becoming and the child calls you on it, apologize.
Yes.
Say, you know, you are right. I really should not have gone there with that. That was too much. And I apologize. Let them see that. Let them see that when you make a mistake, that you are willing to apologize, that you are willing to change that way. So that they know when you find them in a fault and you correct them, they would be willing to change, because they would say, you know, if it was mommy, she would have said sorry and change. You know, if it was daddy, he would have, you know. So we want to teach by example.
Yes.
We want to lead from in front.
Of course.
You know, and in discipline. And so it means that as a human, so they look at you, even though you're an adult, you're a mommy, yes, you're supposed to know everything, yes, but you're still susceptible to making a mistake. And you want them to forgive you when you say sorry. So when they say sorry, you are going to now show them the reason why this is wrong is because.
Yes.
And you point that out to them, so they would have a reason in their mind, because this generation here want a reason for everything.
You have to explain.
Yes. So, you know, and so setting boundaries and disciplining is very important, but don't let the discipline be punishment as much as it should be an opportunity to correct and guide.
Right.
You know, and that resilience, oh my goodness. Sometimes I know it breaks your heart as a parent to stand your ground with them when you see them crying and you see them pleading with you and whatever. But let me tell you this. If you are not consistent in your disciplining, then you being resilient is going to seem like a prison officer.
Right.
It's going to seem wicked, inconsiderate, you know, and so on. So yes, you want to be resilient, that even though you miss an opportunity at one time, get back in there, apologize for, you know, that mistake, and keep on that pathway where you're trying to set up to raise that child to see themselves in the future as this wonderful, excellent, honorable person, and not mommy always shouting,
yes.
mommy does be cussing, because they're in school cussing their parents, they're in school cussing.
Yes.
Just what you do to them at home, they're in school doing it to other people's
right.
children.
Yes.
And disrespecting teachers and whatever because their parents disrespect them or disrespect each other in front of them.
Right. So that is
so
what
that's
they're
what
seeing.
we have. Yeah.
But when you talk about the consistency, because you know children really know how to push your buttons, eh?
They do.
And when you talk about that level of consistency in always, you know, correcting them, because sometimes, not sometimes, in your field you would know that children will test you.
All the time.
They will test you, and if they realize they can get away with this once or twice or 3 times, that's it. So some parents would say, listen, it is so tiring having to correct them, having to be consistent all the time. What would you say to these parents?
After you've done it a few times, they know your facial expression. Remember the days when our parents just had to look at us?
Just the eye.
Well, I raised my children with that.
Right.
And raising them in America where you cannot pound them, you had to find ways to reach them.
Yes.
And the church I went to, Americans, everybody Americans, and the pastor always spoke about the example of home training. And she would say, when Sister Yolanda comes in, do you see how she just looks at her children? Well, I was raised with the look, so I know how to use the look. And I'm saying that to say that you should not have to constantly. And if something happens at a time where you're tired, because we're tired,
yes,
you know, you look at them and you say, listen, sit down for a minute. We'll get back to this in a minute. Right now, I can't deal with it. That lets them know that this was real. This was a big one, boy.
Yes.
This was a big one, boy. Mommy had to come back. So all that time, you didn't even have to put them in timeout. All that time, they're thinking about, oh my gosh, this was bad, boy. I wonder what mommy will do. I wonder what daddy will do. Oh my God. And they're there.
Yes.
Because it was so much, mommy couldn't even talk. And mommy does always quarrel, you know. So yeah, it's okay if you cannot deal with a matter at that moment. It's okay if you're too angry, leave it alone.
Okay.
Because then you're going to revert to the shouting and screaming and hollering, and they're going to tune you out. And nothing you say would have accomplished anything more than you just miserable. And oh God, mommy could talk. And listen here how she go. And they go in this and you're talking and they tune you out. And you're going wah, 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 wah. Nothing you said got through to them. So that is why discipline should not be about punishing. It should be about using it as an opportunity to teach a lesson, explain a thing. I am one of them talkers. I talk and talk. And I am talking about my last child at the age of 8, around there, told me, Mommy, I don't like it when you beat me. I said, I don't like it when you don't listen. But here what, we could have an agreement.
Yes.
If you would listen, I would never raise my hand. At 8, he's 18. Never got a beating. It's not that he did not, you know, do little things.
Yes.
But I was able to say, remember you said
of course
that you would listen. And I agreed that I will not touch you.
So you taught him that kind of responsibility, individual responsibility.
Yes. You gave your word,
yes.
We had an agreement, and this is how it goes.
So you keep your part of the agreement,
that's right.
And everything will be fine.
Yes. So, you know, that communicating, and that is what I was talking about, how important at the top of it, how important active listening.
Yes.
Because in our culture, when a child says that, you're like, Yes, you just rude and know your place. Go your way.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But when we actively listen, we get to understand, and that is the only of my children walk through life and just got spoken to, never got spanked.
Wow. Well, at this time we're going to take a short break, and we will be back. You are viewing Transforming Lives One at a Time.
If you're wondering where to find top-tier quality tiles and products to refurbish or renovate your wall, floor or pool, well, your worry is over. Come to D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center, Store Bay Local Road, opposite the Bonnecourt Primary School, Tobago, where you will find porcelain, mosaic and ceramic tiles of the highest quality guaranteed. D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center also stocks thinset, grout, tile cutters and yes, windows. Plus a friendly smile and service that's second to none awaits you. So forget the hassle and get all the quality tiles you need right here in Tobago at D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center. Call us today at 460-8802, 639-8281. Opens Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m.
Hi, I am Deanne, host of Transforming Lives One at a Time, and I would like to introduce you to our brand new segment, Good Vibes, Good News. And this is where you have the opportunity to highlight your good vibes, good news with us. You could send your 90-second video to our WhatsApp number 1-868-701-2099. That's 1-868-701-2099. Let's hear some of the good news that we never hear about. Good vibes, good news, inspiring hope, celebrating wins, truly grateful.
NSL School and Office Supplies for all your school uniforms, textbooks, stationery and craft supplies. Located obliquely opposite Stumpy's Bypass Canaan. Also offering printing, photocopying and much more. Give them a call today, 615-6595-477-5905 or email them at nslbookstore@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the program. I'm here today with my guest, Ms Yolanda Marcelle, as we continue talking about the skills that are so essential for creating a supportive, loving environment where children can not just exist but thrive.
Yes.
I want to talk about that unconditional love that a parent has or should have for their child.
I think every parent has unconditional love for their children. I believe that. I believe it grows as the child grows. During pregnancy, a mother develops this protective instinct,
Yes.
and even while pregnant, any kind of sudden movement of any kind of change or shift, they quickly
Yes.
go to that protective way.
mode.
So I believe, especially mothers, are all, given that unconditional love for that child growing in them. When you see that child at birth, it's like you are willing to move heaven and earth to
Yes.
protect this child. That type of unconditional love. But as much as that sounds wonderful, we have to be careful. It is dangerous. Unconditional love does not give you the right to spoil that child so much that you destroy their life.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to protect you, but I have to love you enough to want you to be the best version of yourself.
Yes.
And so I am not going to see you doing wrong and say, not my child wouldn't do that. And you know full well that your child shows those tendencies at
Yes,
home.
yes.
And because someone on the outside calls you on it, you think that it's your job with that unconditional love to protect them at all costs. Parents, what you're doing is not protecting the child. You're developing a monster that will turn on you
Yes.
eventually.
Yes.
Right? Because just as they realize that you never correct them, they're going to turn that behavior on you soon enough. Because if it's right, it's right.
Yes.
It's not right sometimes. If it's right, it's right.
Of course.
And they're going to practice doing it. So unconditional love is supposed to protect and preserve, but also nurture for them to be the best version of themselves. So for me, I believe unconditional love is inherent in every parent.
Yes.
But sometimes we allow it to be destructive.
Okay.
We allow it to blind us. And that's when it becomes dangerous. It is not love at that time. You know, because love corrects.
Of course.
The Bible says, who God loved much, he chases.
Yes.
So if God, whose plan for us is good and not evil, who loves us with an everlasting love, I don't think our love could be more unconditional than that. Then how much more? He still makes sure to chasten us.
Yes.
And he doesn't kill us with the chastening. He doesn't abuse us with the chastening. He gently corrects us and lets us know by his Holy Spirit, listen, you don't have to go that way. If you go that way, this is what will happen.
End result.
You know, and this is how we are to raise our children. If you keep going that way, as much as I love you, I will not be able to protect you.
Right.
If you keep going that way, instead of being an excellent person, instead of being an honorable, trustworthy person, you are going to end up in jail. You are going to end up dead.
Yes.
This is not you speaking death over your child. This is you helping your child to understand that actions have consequences, and there are some consequences you're not going to get them out.
That's it.
So if you truly love your child, ensure that they do not go in those directions. It means that you have to correct them.
Yes.
It means you have to let them know that was wrong and that should not be a part of who you are becoming. It means that you have to be able to teach them with every action.
Yes.
And if you truly love your child, you need to change to be a good example to your child. That is what unconditional love does.
Wow.
And it creates the right environment
Yes.
for growth, development. For that child, it creates a healthy environment so that your home can function efficiently and effectively.
Yes.
You know, a lot of times people say, Ms Marcelle, you don't have to worry because you have good children. I said, I wasn't born. So
Well, that's it.
I put in the time.
Yes.
And sometimes they say, Mommy, you're so mean. I said, it's okay, you will say that now, but I'll check you back in 5 years.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I say, you listen to how people talk about you all. And that is what we are looking at. They are saying to you what I am building in you,
right,
so that you know that it's working. But it's children, the natural instinct is to do what they want,
yes,
and say how they want.
Have their own way.
Yes, and so anytime you prevent that, you are mean,
yes,
you are terrible. Parents, it doesn't mean that they love you less.
True.
If you don't discipline them, they are going to disrespect you. They are going to hate you when they have to face life and not be equipped to succeed in life. So that unconditional love, yes, I believe every parent has it. It's just that sometimes it becomes distorted.
Right.
And then it is now you use it against yourself and your child's future by not correcting them.
So that's a lose-lose situation.
Yes.
And we want a win-win situation.
That's right.
So you love your child, yes, you have
Yes.
that unconditional, but you have to ensure that you guide that child.
That's
so
right.
that at the end of the day, you don't have to be visiting them in the prison cells.
Oh my goodness, that's so grievous
or
to think about.
In the graveyard.
In the graveyard, even worse,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's continue in that vein in highlighting some of the other areas that creates a healthy, functional home for a child to grow and flourish, really flourish.
Ooh. Every child is different and every home is different. So you have to understand the child you have. You might have a quiet child, you might have a more outgoing,
yes,
talkative child, whatever. Let me tell you, Holy Ghost. That's my secret weapon. Because sometimes, not every time my children would talk, sometimes I have to discern by the Holy Spirit. So parents, I'm telling you, develop a relationship with the Father in heaven and your children would be a breeze. Because I am telling you, sometimes I'm seeing them and I say, you all right? Yes, mommy. But I know I could see they're not all right. And I'm like, Lord, you had to help me here. What is happening? And pray and pray and pray again. Did I say pray and pray again? Because I am telling you, it is by the help of the Holy Spirit. And so I was able to create games, create opportunities, and with the games we play, someone will have to lose. And you use that as a teaching opportunity because no child likes to lose.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that a little later on.
And so you create things at home. One of the worst nightmares of a child is a relationship in the parents that is full of war and turmoil. And now the child of both parents, and you pull at them because now it seems like they need to choose a parent. It's heartbreaking.
It is.
One of the things I've learned is whatever arguments I have, I leave it for when they're not around. Because parents, when they're sleeping, they're not sleeping. Eh? They could hear you.
True.
The houses, they're thin. Yes. They can hear you. Leave it for when they're not around. What I used to do is when the children go off to school, while my husband is driving on his way to work, we would have that conversation, or during the lunchtime at work he would call and say, I know you said you wanted to talk to me, and we would have that. Do not allow the children to see that war. Then what you have done is start a war in them.
Yes. And many times they're thinking that they may be the cause of it.
Or every time they're thinking, and so you put that pressure on them to, maybe if I do this, mommy wouldn't be upset. Maybe if I do this, daddy wouldn't shout. Maybe if, and we want, it's so hard to be a child in this time.
Right.
We don't want to add grown-up pressure onto them that they feel they're responsible for saving the family, for saving the marriage.
Wow.
Because if they see you do that too much time, they know about divorce now. In our time we were a little foolish. Mommy and daddy quarreling, we go outside and play.
Right.
Now these children are fully invested. And so they need to know that they are protected by both parents. Have your discussion with the other parent about how we're going to discipline, how we're going to raise the children, what we're going to do. Even when you're separated, because we have a lot of single parent homes. Right. It's not just mothers are single parents, there are fathers who are single parents too. We spend a lot of time talking about the single mothers, but we do have single fathers, and they are not equipped like we are to be single parents, and so do not use the children as pawn in your back and forth and your bickering and your warring.
Yes.
Do not. It puts pressure on the child. They can't think clearly. They can't focus at school. They cannot. All they're hearing is that war. And they know this weekend I have to go by daddy, but mommy say, when I go, I'm supposed to. And then when they reach, daddy dragging mommy through the mud, and I have to make sure I don't say. Don't put them through that.
Right.
And that is part of creating a healthy environment at home for them. Let them be safe. It doesn't matter whether they're with mommy or daddy. Let them feel safe.
Yes.
Save the bickering among yourselves without the ear of the child around you. And pray with them. Pray with them. Parents, I know some of you feel you're too grown to follow the instruction of the scriptures. But I'm telling you, pray with them. Send them to Sunday school. I wish you will go too, but send them to Sunday school. And when they come back, ask them what Sunday school was about. You talk to them,
Yes.
you know, encourage them while they're doing the story. If it is a story you don't know about, go in the Bible with them and talk about the story and how proud that child's mother was, and so now you feel the same way about your
Yes.
child. Bring them into the story
So it's like a
and whatever.
lesson again.
Yes, again. So growing up our children healthy is about life's lessons.
Yes.
So that when they're older, they would not depart. They won't forget.
Never.
This situation, mommy did say, daddy had said that if I do this, da 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 da. And so when they become adults, now choices have to be made. They're gonna remember.
Yes. Yes.
And so we create a safe space. Home must be a safe space.
That is so very important. So, and I remember even speaking on the program about, that kind of family time where you may not be able to have breakfast together, but dinner time. Everybody sit around the table, even if we just sitting, we just relaxing in the living room, and we're just talking about our day. I mean, just that time to know that, well, okay, I am looking forward to this, where I could hear what daddy did for the day. Maybe daddy's a truck driver, and he said, well, I went to this place today. So you're listening and you're waiting, because what it does, it provides a kind of homey kind of.
Yes, that warm,
warm feeling. It's like, wow, my family.
Yeah.
And we take it for granted.
And don't be mean with the conversation. Keep away from the somber kind of downing conversation. Talk about the exciting things and listen to their exciting things, and so on. And then you could come to the end of all that excitement and say, how did you all make out at school today? Is there anyone that we need to pray for? Is there anyone who doesn't seem to be in control of their emotions and their words? Because, we could pray for them and God would be able to help them. And don't be as, who bullying you in school today? Who and I know manners, their parents wouldn't train them. No.
Yes, they're creating that kind of hostile environment. So the child will, in return, take it back to the school, and then you'll have the manifestation.
Correct is right.
Wow, this information is very,
everything
very
we do must be geared to positivity.
Yes.
And because the children will gravitate to that. They come into my room at school and they say, Miss, you miss me? I'm like, no, I didn't miss anybody. Miss? yes. So you from the time you say, yes, I missed you, what you did? Well, miss.
Yes, the excitement.
So the difference is, and that's what we want to encourage. We want their interest, we want their engagement. And if at all you would like to have that in the home, remain positive. That is why discipline should not be about punishment, but about correction and teaching. So I'll always come back to that.
Of course, I realize that's your mantra. I realize. Let's talk about stress management as we get ready for another break shortly. For both parents and children. But let's touch on parents first, and how can these custodians create that somewhat calm environment to deal with their children, their charges, as challenges unfold, whether at school, at home, in the community, bearing in mind too, that you have parents juggling. They're juggling the jobs, probably multiple jobs, finances, so many different things that are taking place in a parent's mind, and you still have to ensure that you're calm. Let's talk about them first, and then we're going to talk, after the break, we're going to talk about the children.
But you see, that's going to be a little ticklish to divide, because to be able to maintain a calm, both parent and children have to work together here.
Right.
Because when you fight the world outside, in your career, in your work environment, in your social life, the children would have also finished fight the world outside at school. So when we come in, and there's where boundaries come from again,
Yes.
we set boundaries. So let's say we establish in the home that when you come home from school, we're going to do this, and this.
Right.
And everyone could take a time out. So let's say a half an hour, 1 hour, you as a parent will know what will work for your home environment. And so mommy get to sit a minute.
Yes, breathe.
And just breathe. And the children get to sit a minute in their room.
Yes.
And no screaming, no shouting, no whatever, whether you go on your computer and play a game, because even though we are managing their screen time,
Yeah.
they're still gonna get it.
Of course.
So if you give them a half an hour, you might have a child that love to read.
Right.
They get a book and they read just for that moment.
Yes.
You don't want it to be a school book.
Right.
You want it to be a relaxed moment.
Yes.
And so everyone is relaxed. And then we go back. And then as parents now, they must have a bedtime.
Yes.
Your child cannot be going to school for 8 o'clock next morning and be up 10 and 11 o'clock at night. They have not rested, their body have not calmed down, their mind has not
Yes.
calmed down. Because remember, even when you lie to sleep, you have to calm down before you fall asleep.
Yes.
Much more for these hyper children. So in finding that stress-free moment, setting those boundaries are important. And as they grow, you want to continue persistent,
Yes.
consistent.
Yes.
You want to establish that this time is when we quiet down, and this is how we quiet down. And then when this moment is finished, mommy will come and call everyone. And you can now come and we can sit together.
Yes.
And everyone would have had a nice breather and everything. And then we could start now the excitement for the
Yes.
rest of the night and so on till it's time for bed again. So you put them in bed at a certain hour and you get to breathe.
Yes.
So that they are aware that this is mommy quiet time. One of the ways I had to establish that is when I'm on my quiet time and they come, mommy, 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 I sit with my eyes closed and I stay quiet, I don't answer. And they're like, mommy, no, 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 no. And I sit with my eyes closed, so I'm not looking at anybody.
Yes.
And I don't answer. They say, oh, we'll come back, mommy.
Yes.
Because over time we've established that if I
Right.
do that, I'm just taking a little time out. So let me get a little peace.
Yes.
And they have come
Yes,
to understand
yes,
that.
yes.
So you would develop as a parent what works in your home, and that's how you will set that boundary in place.
All right. Well, we'll continue just after the break. Short break. We'll be right back.
If you're wondering where to find top-tier quality tiles and products to refurbish or renovate your wall, floor or pool, well, your worry is over. Come to D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center, Store Bay Local Road, opposite the Bonnecourt Primary School, Tobago, where you will find porcelain, mosaic and ceramic tiles of the highest quality guaranteed. D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center also stocks thinset, grout, tile cutters and yes, windows. Plus a friendly smile and service that's second to none awaits you. So forget the hassle and get all the quality tiles you need right here in Tobago at D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center. Call us today at 460-8802, 639-8281. Opens Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m.
Hi, I am Deanne, host of Transforming Lives One at a Time, and I would like to introduce you to our brand new segment, Good Vibes, Good News. And this is where you have the opportunity to highlight your good vibes, good news with us. You could send your 90-second video to our WhatsApp number 1-868-701-2099. That's 1-868-701-2099. Let's hear some of the good news that we never hear about. Good vibes, good news, inspiring hope, celebrating wins, truly grateful.
NSL School and Office Supplies for all your school uniforms, textbooks, stationery, and craft supplies. Located obliquely opposite Stumpy's Bypass Canaan. Also offering printing, photocopying, and much more. Give them a call today, 615-6595, 477-5905, or email them at nslbookstore@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the program Transforming Lives One at a Time. And just before the break, we were talking about parents remaining calm under stressful situations. And of course, we're going to get to the children as well. So just continue in that vein.
Yeah. And the children, we really need to allow children to learn that you have to de-stress.
Yeah.
And so after you've had a day of back and forth, your friends, break time, lunch time, after school, hustling for transport, whatever, when you get home, take a breath.
Yes.
And there should even be structure into that. So it's not come home, drop the bag by the door, kick the shoes in the middle of the floor, go and lie down on the bed in your dirty clothes from whole day. You come home, you put your things where they need to go, you change out of those clothes.
Yes.
Get yourself some water, preferably, or some juice, and you sit in your room. If your room have your device or whatever, but you sit quiet. I prefer that they not sit in front of the television.
Right, okay.
But everyone's home is different. Sit quiet. Lay back on the bed, put their hand behind their head. You know, some children love to sing. Let them hum to themselves. Let them learn you must de-stress. It's going to be hard at first, parents. I'm letting you know now.
Right.
Because children are not built to sit still. It's going to feel like torture. It's going to feel like punishment. But I'm telling you, do not let it go on long.
Yeah.
Start off when you're now introducing them to it, a little 15 minutes, a little 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Build it up.
Right.
And then, you know, they're gonna go crazy. I'm telling you one time. So you set the clock, you let them know that at so and so time we're gonna come back together. You know? And if they come back before, you ask them, what time is it?
Right.
Like, Mommy, oh gosh. You're like, all right, go breathe a little more. Mommy need a little few more minutes to breathe also. You know, Mommy don't want to shout and whatever, so I need to calm down and relax, and I need you to calm down and relax so we can have a good afternoon. You know, don't just send them, it's 10 time yet, let go for a minute. Though, you know, we want them to want to develop this habit.
Right.
So it's not to feel as a punishment.
Okay.
We want them to know this is a necessary part of remaining calm and staying sane.
Yes.
You know, because their world is crazy.
I'm telling you.
You know, and so parents would get that time and children would learn to develop that. And you want them to, because you want when they become parents, that they learn how to de-stress before you attack your home.
Of course. Of course.
You know, and so on.
Of course. Well, shifting now to the children, truth be told, I am a bit concerned that sometimes we tend to minimize the fact that our children deal with stressful situations on a daily basis. We may just sum it up sometimes and say, well, you have no bills to pay, you have no rent to pay.
That's a regular thing.
You have no family to provide for, you don't have any work to go to. But we can think of the many issues that children would face on a daily basis as it relates to trying to fit in with their peers, dealing with peer pressure, academic challenges, actually trying to keep on par with your other schoolmates and that kind of thing, and so many other things. Even dealing with the changes taking place in their bodies.
Oh my.
That is a whole, I know that's a whole program. You know, but dealing with various family matters and so many other things that we can look at that these children face from time to time. And I want to find out, how Can parents provide that added layer of support for their children in these stressful times and not just say, well, you have no bills to pay, so you have nothing to stress about? But the stress is real for our children.
It is real. This struggle is real.
It is.
For children. It is not like when we were children. It is crazy. And where we have parents involving children in adult responsibilities and decisions at home, and these children now come into your child's circle and don't know how to be a child, you know, and so the pressures from different directions, and those children who come from abusive environments and all they know is abuse, and then there are those who don't know how to win graciously, and so they rub it in your face and they torment you. And I mean, parents, children have so much, and long time brand meant nothing to us now. Oh my Lord. And then if you, God forbid, happen to choose the wrong brand to put on your child, even though your child wearing brand, they still getting picked on because that ain't no brand. You know, and parents, if you want to remember what I'm talking about, remember Bata Bullet and Doric or Doris, wherever it was, and all them kinds of stuff. So you put on your Bata because Bata was thing. Bata was nothing, you know, and these different kinds of stuff. So we want to understand, and a way to do that, parents need to be more involved in their child's education. The teachers are not the end all and be all of your child's education. Go in school, visit from time to time. Pick a time once per month. Some people say once per term. I say once per month. You can miss a lot in 3 months.
It's true.
You know, and visit. Not that your child doing anything wrong, but let the teacher know that you are interested in what is happening in the classroom, that you're not taking it for granted.
Of course.
That the child, the angel home, is the angel in school, because more than likely that ain't the case.
Correct, you are.
You know, and then you would have raised your angel and sent them to hell. Because that is how schools feel, like a war zone. It is a struggle, and so do not minimize their struggle. Do not minimize. And let me explain to you, parents, the curriculum is never covered at school. It means that you have to seek the interest of your child. The CXC curriculum is up. From Form 1, you can go on there, get the curriculum, know what your child must cover every year, and do not leave it up to someone else to seek your child's interest.
Of course.
And so, if you want to know and understand the stress and the struggle that your child go through, immerse yourself into their life. Listen, active listening. Listen to what they're saying when they come home. And by the help of the Holy Spirit, listen to what they're not saying. Because you will find the gaps, you know. They're going to tell you a story with gaps in there. And the Holy Spirit is all you need to fill in those gaps. So don't say, well, what you have to do. When I want to terrorize my children, I do that. When they hear they come, Mommy, oh my gosh. I say, yes, how much child support you have to pay this month? The bill, what the bill is, they're like, Mommy. I say, all right, what's going on? You know, and we could all start off the conversation with a laugh.
Yes, of course.
And they know I'm joking because I never hold them to that.
Right.
That is not how I address it. So they know what I'm saying, they know I'm being funny and whatever, and we laugh, and so you relax a little bit the mood, and then they start to relate to you what's happening. Do not minimize what your children are going through. Do not leave it up to the teacher at school to properly educate your child. They may not have the skills that you want to use to raise your child. Why would you leave it up to somebody else to determine how your child should behave, how your child should respond to things, the language? because unfortunately, we have some teachers who don't have boundaries. And so they say things out of their mouth they should not be saying as a teacher. You know, why leave it up to someone else to do that for your child?
Right.
So understand what they're going through. Go to the teachers. Hear what the teachers have to say. And don't say, well, you sure it's my child? They must be following somebody because my child and my child. No.
Denial.
That child may have developed some things at school to survive.
Of course.
It's not that they want to be that way, but that's the only way to survive. So listen, be interested. Don't say, I just only show up when they call me. That's too late.
Right.
Because by the time they call you, your child getting ready to be suspended and all these different things.
Problems.
You know?
Yes, yes, yes.
And you know, before we move on, how about some counseling help?
Yes.
Why is it we feel that is a reproach, a curse,
like a stigma.
Like something wrong with your child if they need help.
Yes.
If you cannot help them, get help for them.
From the professionals. And it makes sense. It makes sense.
We're going back to that. I love you.
Yes.
I love you so much that I'm willing to step out of my comfort zone to ensure
To help.
you
Yes,
become
yes.
the kind of adult you need to be.
Correct. Well, our time is quickly approaching. You know, something happens when you come on this setting. There is never enough time. But I want us to touch quickly on teaching our children about winning and losing, how to deal with loss. When emotions are running high, a football game, or they probably came 4th or 5th in tests, just walk us through how they can be guided in that respect, and then give us your closing remarks.
Start at home. Everything begins at home, you know.
Yes.
I don't know why we think it starts at school. Everything begins at home. Parents, do you have game evening or game nights with your children?
Yes.
Where they get to lose. Let them lose.
Let them lose.
You know, we let them win because it's children.
Yes.
Let them lose. And see their reaction and then teach them about how you behave. That is not sportsmanlike. This is how you should behave. What did you do that you did not win?
Yes.
You know, and when they're in school and they come home and the grades are not what they're supposed to be, you say, well, what happened? Well, mommy, I studied this, you know, and this and I didn't understand that. Let me give you an example. My daughter is training in the military in America. And the area that she is training for, she has to be observant and be able to detect clues and so on in the image that she sees and so on. And the last exam really threw her for a loop. She was in tears, mommy. And I said, what it is that caused you not to be able to succeed in this one? She said, mommy, I'm not seeing the thing properly. It distorted and whatever. I said, so what type of clues would distinguish one item from the next so that when you're looking at it, even if you don't see it clearly, you look for that distinguishing mark so that you detect, oh, this is this and that is that. Mommy, the picture, whatever. And as simple as, I say, so what can we do? Because we had to figure something.
Yes.
What can we do? Because you cannot fail. So what can we do? And you know what was the solution? I sent her to find some games where you have to find the item they tell you to find in the middle of all the things. So your brain is learning to focus in on the particular thing that you need to find. And so she had another test and she said, mommy, I passed that one. I said, what caused that? She said, mommy, them game. It's teaching me them game. So as simple as a game. So every solution may not be black and white. So you have to figure it out. And if you do not have an idea, parent, it's okay.
Ask for help.
Ask for help. Ask the Holy Spirit. Ask your guidance officers. Ask your social workers at the schools. Ask for help of the professionals. and come up with creative ways that deals with your personal child. So we have sports day in school, and you go to sports day with the children. Parents don't show up, you know. Heartbreaking. Parents don't show up. So you go to the game,
Yes.
and you shout and you whatever, and when they lose, you say, how come you didn't make the goals and stuff like you needed to, or you didn't win or whatever? And they would tell you, well, the baton dropped here with the relay, or I got tired along the way, whatever. So then now, what we have to do, what you think we need to do so that next time, you know, you could push a little more. Don't say, well, you didn't say all you could do any better. No.
Right.
Help them problem solve and come up with solutions. And what it doesn't make them less. It just means that you had to work a little harder next time to be the one on top. You know?
Very well, very well. Well, that is about all the time that we have. Never enough time when you are here, but we have got to do something about that.
Yes.
All right. Well, I would like to sincerely thank my guest, Ms Yolanda Marcelle, for offering her expertise on this topic today. As parents, I urge you to continue putting in the work. Yes. As you prepare another generation to make meaningful and significant contributions to our societies. I am your host, Deanne, always happy to be here with you. Remember to check out our social media platforms, Transforming Lives One at a Time. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Let these positive programs go viral as we continue to transform lives one at a time. And before we go, we have introduced a brand new segment. Yes, a brand new segment, Good Vibes, Good News. This is where you can share your good news with us in a 90-second video. You can send your videos to our WhatsApp at 1-868-701-2099. And as has become customary, I leave you with the definition of transformation, which is an internal shift that brings us into alignment with our fullest potential. Hey, we've got this. Catch you later.